It gets to a point as a woman, you need to develop yourself. You need to put on your big girl pants. And I understand we are so many of us over the internet sharing all these ideas, sharing all this knowledge, sharing all these pieces of information. And it can be very confusing and overwhelming when you think about it. Knowing which content creator you should pick information from can be very overwhelming. But one thing I'm going to tell you is this: no matter who you listen to, no matter who you go for, nobody will ever live your life for you. You need to learn how to live your life on your own terms. And I'm not telling people not to listen to us as creators. You can listen to us because, one, you can be inspired, you can be encouraged, you can also find information that relates to what you are going through or you've gone through, and you can also find an advice that helps you navigate your own path. But you shouldn't be listening to any of us so that you can live your life off from whatever we are telling you. I need you to start building yourself as an individual. I need you to start living your life on your own terms. I need you to start making your own decisions and making the choices that are going to lead you in the kind of life that you're going to live. The kind of life I am living today has been heavily influenced by the choices I have made in my life. And I was having a conversation with my best friend, and I was sharing this difficult situation that I am in. And what she told me was this: I am not going to tell you what you need to do, but I want you to know that you have a choice. And in as much as I knew I had a choice, there is that fear that comes with, how are things going to turn out? No matter how much I know, no matter how much proof I have from my past experiences, there is still that fear that comes with, what is going to happen? What are the consequences of the choice that I am about to make or I am going to make? Her telling me that, her reminding me that, made me realize I was not helpless in this situation. I had a choice, I had a voice, and I had an option. And today we're going to be talking about things that you need to learn as a woman. And some of these things are lessons and things that I am learning currently in my life. Some are even reappearing again in my life, because when you don't learn, life keeps on repeating the same thing to you and giving you the same lesson until you learn, until you pick completely on whatever lesson it wants you to learn. If I don't learn from a situation, it keeps on reappearing and happening again and again and again into my life until I get to that point. I have grabbed that lesson completely. And today we are going to talk about those things. So if you've not subscribed yet, how about you hit that subscription button, become part of this community, share with me what other things that you are doing to grow and become a better version of yourself. What are you doing to improve and develop yourself as a woman? And for our men, please just support us by watching. And also you can share something that maybe your sister, your mother, your wife, your partner has experienced, or you've seen it work on them and it's going to help someone else. The first thing I am learning and I have learned is taking radical responsibility. I have said this so many times in my videos, but let me tell you, saying is one thing, acting, accompanying your words with actions is what matters. You get to a point as a woman, you have no option but to put your big girl's pants on. You get to that point and you ask yourself the hardest questions. Those questions that make you cringe as a woman, as a person. Why do I keep on getting the same kind of relationships? Why do I keep on getting the same kind of friends? Why is it that I have found myself in the same situation over and over again? Why is my life repeating itself? Why is it that my 2024 looks like my 2023? It gets to that point. You have no option but to ask yourself, to question yourself radically. What is it that I'm not doing, or what is it that I am doing that is giving me the same kind of life and I don't like it? If you don't like where you are, I want you to remember that you have a choice. You have an option. And having transitioned from my early 20s to now mid 20s, I cannot be living the same life that I was living when I was 20, when I was 18. I need to change something. And our human ego doesn't like being questioned. She feels like she's the bigger person. You shouldn't ask me anything. I am the one in charge. So having to sit down with your ego and putting them away, telling them you need to take a break. You literally pick them up and put them aside. And now you have a conversation with yourself. And take that radical responsibility. You cannot lie to yourself, that's one thing. And know that you cannot wait for anybody to outline how life is supposed to be. There is no roadmap. If you are the type of woman who sits down and you're hoping that somehow a Prince Charming is gonna come and save you, somehow a good Samaritan is gonna appear in your life and give you a blueprint and give you a roadmap, outline things for you and tell you how you're going to achieve the life that you want, how you're going to live your life, you're lying to yourself. It's time you took a radical responsibility and become accountable for every choice and every decision you make in your life. There is no absolute reason I should be a 26-year-old, yet I'm walking around with a 17 or 16-year-old mentality. I need to change that mindset, and so should you. The next thing that I'm learning and that I have learned in this season is learning a skill. I enrolled to an online class, one of the hardest courses that I had ever put myself into. And it's not something that I really wanted, but I just wanted to have that skill. It's not something that I had passion for, but I just wanted to have that skill because I knew the benefits. I knew it was going to upgrade my life in one way or the other. And that doesn't mean just because I enrolled on that class, it's now done, I'm perfect, I have my degree, and now I have those other certificates I have done. Perfect, life is good. Every day I am learning something, and you should too. I don't care if you learn how to arrange your bed. I don't care if you're learning how to make a spaghetti. I don't care if you're learning how to drink water. Just learn something. And I know as women, we are overwhelmed by so many things. Bearing in mind that we are soft creatures, this modern life has come and has made us to be so masculine, and we feel like life is just overwhelming and we don't even know what we're doing anymore. We don't even have time for ourselves. But nobody is going to take your papers. Nobody is going to take a skill from you. They can cut off your feet, they can cut off your hands, but that skill that you've learned, it's going to stay with you for as long as you're alive. So I want you to normalize learning a skill. It doesn't matter. Some of us are very bad when it comes to communication skills. How about you start learning how to properly communicate, how to strike a conversation with a stranger? Learn something. Don't you ever stop learning. Whether you have 4 kids, gave birth, whether you just got married, whether you're still single, whether you are at the peak of your career, never stop learning as a woman. And that is something that I am learning. That is something that I have realized. It is a very vital and necessary part of our lives as women. The next thing that you need to learn is conflict skills. I know as women, we are emotional creatures. And most of us, if not all of us, most of us, we operate from a point of emotions. We don't want to look at the logic. We don't want to lean into logic. We don't want to look at things without our emotions being involved. How about you learn how to communicate, how to deal with conflicts, difficult conversations, because life is going to slap you so often with difficult situations, difficult conversations, and you cannot be crying every time you're handling a conflict. You cannot be crying every single time you are in a hard conversation. You cannot be operating from your emotional being, from your emotional POV. You need to learn how to put your reaction aside, your emotions aside, and lean onto logic, because life is not going to stop and be soft to you just because you're a woman. Learn how to communicate your boundaries, your wants, your needs without getting emotional and reactive. And I'm not telling people not to use their emotions, because there are necessary times that emotions are needed. We need to use our emotions. When that time comes, honey, go ahead and use your emotions fully. But on a normal day, you need to learn how to use your logic. The next thing is that external validation is an imprisonment. Have you ever made a decision without involving anyone at all? You just woke up, made a decision, and worked with it without telling anyone. How was that feeling? How was that experience? There is this quiet strength and confidence that comes from knowing that you made a decision without the influence of anyone else. You made a choice without the influence of a second, third party. And it's only through making decisions, your own decisions, that is going to make you more confident, that is going to build trust with yourself. When you're letting people help you make decisions, you're not living life on your own terms. Because if your mom has to be involved so that you can move forward, if your friends have to be involved so that you can move forward, you don't have the power, honey. They have the power to your life. You took your power and gave it away to somebody else. And whatever decision you make from what they've given you, it means that your life is going to operate from that POV. Your life will always run on somebody else's wheels. It's not yours. I want you to understand that external validation is an imprisonment to oneself. And that is the last thing you want to give yourself, especially you are past your mid-20s or you're in your mid-20s. You need to give yourself freedom. Decide that from this day henceforth, you're going to live life on your own terms. Unless you are in a situation that is life-threatening and you need to involve a friend because your emotions are all over, you cannot think, and you also need someone to immediately, instantly give you a solution, you don't need to get a validation from external forces. And maybe you've tried a couple of times and it has backfired on you. How about you learn to give yourself more than 10 chances? I want you to start giving yourself as many chances as possible, just like you give to that ex of yours, just like you give to that friend of yours. Nobody else comes first in your life. You do come first. It's okay to do it. It's okay to operate from your own decision and it backfires. But have you given yourself the chance to correct that? And I have said in this video, I'm going to be linking it up here. Failing is not failing. Failing is learning. When you try something and it doesn't work out, you have learned. You have a lesson at hand. The next time you're going to be doing something, you won't operate from that advice. You won't operate from the same point because now you know better. And also making decisions for yourself and giving yourself more than one chances. That's how you build trust with yourself. If you try once, try twice, try thrice, and it fails, and then you decide, let me be consulting mom so that I can move on with life. Let me consult the girls so that I can be able to move on with life, so that I can be able to roll this ball of life forward. You are programming your subconscious mind that exactly, I don't trust myself. I don't have trust in myself. And unless somebody else is involved, I cannot do it. So how about you give yourself a chance and do better? Operate from a point of confidence and boldness. And if there's someone who should never ever deprecate themselves in front of anyone or even when they are alone, it's yourself. Never self-deprecate. You didn't fail, you learned. That takes us to the next point, which is learning who you are. Get to know yourself. I have said this, I think, in almost every one of my videos. You cannot allow other people predict your next move. Don't you ever self-deprecate. Nobody should ever be able to read you down before you do. If people know you too well that they can make a prediction of your next move, your next reaction, honey, you failed. Learn who you are. Keep your life private. Evolve. Become a chameleon if that needs be. And people say that being a chameleon is a bad thing. Trust you me, it's not a bad thing. Because you need to adapt and change to situations, but also being able to maintain your authenticity. If you are able to camouflage, but still maintaining your essence, that is your authenticity, then that's not a bad thing. That's not a negative. It's a positive. It's a plus. Make sure nobody can read you down. Let them think you are a soft, calm person. And then tomorrow you wake up to be this bold, opinionated lass. Don't let anyone be able to read you down. Honey, I'm saying this so many times because some of us, we've relaxed on ourselves. It's like we've given up on ourselves and life. We have allowed people to see through us. They know us through to through. Who we are, they know how we act. They literally can predict our meal, like what we're gonna eat every day from Monday to Friday. Don't do that to yourself. You are letting yourself down. Don't allow someone else to be able to predict you. On this God's green earth, don't do that to yourself. Make sure It is your goal that nobody can ever call you a bluff. Ever. Live your life on your own terms. Be respectful. Be authentic. Show up to the world as you are. Don't edit yourself. And I've said this, I don't care whether you like me or not. Don't edit yourself. I would rather be quiet than contribute to a conversation that doesn't align with my values or I don't support, I don't agree with. I'd rather be quiet than say something so that I can please the people who are part of that conversation. And no one is ever gonna call you a bluff. Trust you me. Make it your goal. Make it your goal. And this takes us to the last point, which is don't tell people. And people in this case, I'm referring to your friends and family about your business. And I'm not just talking about purely not telling people anything about yourself, but put a limit to what you share with people. They don't need to know. It is not their business. This season, specifically this season, has taught me in the hard way that I shouldn't tell people, I shouldn't share my business, my realizations with my friends and family before I have dealt with situations and issues in my life. Until I have a realization of the problem that I'm going through, the issue that I'm going through, the discovery that I'm going through, I ain't saying no business to anyone. This is because when you share something before you've worked on it, you've even thought about it, people are going to inflict you with their fears. People are going to instill logic into situations that don't necessarily require logic. They're going to be emotional because your souls are tied. They feel like you're a part of their life and they cannot just let you go. They can't let you operate on your own. They're going to help you. And because you are clouded by your emotions, you're not going to see the logic. You're not going to see the nitty-gritties of that situation. You're going to operate from whatever they would do if they were in the same position. So I want you to learn to take your time. Remember, we talked about you working on your emotional intelligence, working on your conflict skills. When you become better at how you handle hard situations, conversations, it is going to be very easy to implement whatever I'm talking about here, because now you are not controlled by your reactiveness or your emotions. You can sit down through the hard conversation, you can sit down through the hard situation and think, look at the consequences, look at the impact, and make judgment. So I want you to let people know about your business, about your situations, about major big steps that you're making in life, you've made in life, after you have made your realization. Get through your phase and then share with the people in your life. And they don't even need to know, not everything that should be known by your family. And through it all, I want to leave you with this. Give yourself grace and be patient with yourself. Remember, you've never been 22 ever again. You've never been 30 again. You've never been 26 again. And so there is no blueprint. It doesn't matter what society has termed, as labeled as a blueprint of what life should look like. It doesn't matter. You are living this life for the first time as a 26-year-old, as a 30, 40, 50-year-old. And so you don't know. You've never been here. And life is like a class. Those that are 30 years, of course, have better experiences. They have better lessons than those of us who are in their mid-20s, in their late 20s. And you cannot relate. And just because I come here to share my opinions, my advice, my knowledge, my realizations with you, I'm not telling you to pick this and run with it. I'm sharing so that I can inspire you. I'm sharing so that I can impact you in one way or the other. I am sharing so that we can connect. Maybe there is something that resonates with you. You can compare. You can pick that and see with your own judgment if it's going to help you navigate your life from where you are to the next step. So learn to pick things by a pinch of salt. Every information given, especially here on internet, doesn't necessarily mean that that's how I'm going to live my life. But how about looking at it from a point of, I have experienced that, or I am going through that. Let me see if what X and X said might work on me, is going to work on me. Or I agree with that, but that's yours. I cannot relate. And it's okay. So learn to give yourself grace. Learn to be very patient with yourself. If you do something and you fail, wake up again, dust yourself, be courageous, and do it again in a different way, of course, so that you can get different results. And also, do not get tired of working on yourself. Every single day is a chance for you to do things differently, for you to work towards becoming a better version of yourself. If at all self-development is your thing, because not everyone in this entire universe cares about self-development. There's someone who is okay with the kind of life they're living. They don't care. And maybe their awakening is going to come at their 60th year, it's going to come at their 40th year, it's going to come at their 20th year. It's okay. Our journeys are different. But if you have already started your journey, your self-development, your self-improvement journey, I want you to not get tired. I know it's hard. Sometimes it gets lonely because you find that the friends that you are with, you've outgrown them because they're not operating from the same point as you are. And that means you're going to need to leave them behind so that you can move forward. So it gets lonely sometimes, and that's okay too. It's never too late. Give yourself grace, be patient with yourself, and start whenever you're ready. You're never too old to start. It's never too late. All the best to all of us who are doing this self-development thing. I wish you all the best, and I hope I'm going to see you on the top. Go out and embody the best versions of yourselves that you've always wanted to be. And if you've not subscribed, how about you hit that subscription button, become part of this community, leave me your comment, share this video, watch the next video because it is closely related to this specific one, and I'll see you in the next one.